Hello guys, so formally introducing myself to you, I'm Debbie Ellison. I'm the Global Chief Digital Officer of VMLY&R Commerce. We're a creative commerce agency, global creative commerce agency with 13,000 people across 44 markets. But continuing the theme, I think, around kind of brand purpose and values, I want to talk about the future of e-commerce and how brand purpose and values are coming to life in that space. What are some of the drivers behind this and key lessons for brands and retailers? When we hear about the future of e-commerce, the established narrative is around gleaning first-party data and understanding shoppers more intimately to fuel more relevant, personalized commerce experiences in a post-cookieless world. The dominating growth of existing marketplaces, the emergence of new marketplaces and direct-to-consumer platforms, artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality. But I believe that the biggest impact to the future of e-commerce will not be technology, actually, nor data, or even retailers. Whilst they're extremely important in its shaping, Gen Z will influence the future of e-commerce the most. And why is that? Well, because last year, Gen Z constituted 32% of the global population and already now have a spending power of $143 billion US. Gen Z dominate online spending more so than any other generation, and they're also now entering adulthood. So understanding their shopping behavior, but more importantly what they value, gives us an insight into this already powerful generation and what's to come. Many are finding that not only is this generation the most racially and ethnically diverse of any group, but they're also shaping up to be the most well-educated. They've been markedly influenced by a series of global events and causes, which has actively shaped their view of the world. Terrorism and war, the Great Recession, the Arab Spring, the election of Barack Obama, gender equality, the pandemic, the murder of George Floyd, and the resulting Black Lives Matter movement. And because of this, they are moving towards adulthood with a much more liberal set of attitudes and an openness to emerging social trends than previous generations. Just to put that into perspective and in full transparency, I have two Gen Zers of my own, hence the bags underneath my eyes. I've got one daughter, Renee, aged 24, and I've got a son, aged 16. And one of the things that I'm seeing in my sample size of 2 is these values are really being borne out by how they see or how they behave in commerce and how their purchases are being influenced. So at the height of the pandemic, when I was talking to my daughter about kind of buying some beauty products, she turned to me and she said, Fenty Beauty, Kylie Cosmetics, they're not going to miss our money, Mum. You know, Melissa, who's just started a black beauty brand, my friend, let's buy some of her products. My son started college a few weeks ago, loving it, not. But I was in the store the other day with him, you know, doing the parental thing of kind of buying new folders, buying paper, pens, etc. And I actually got really frustrated and bothered and hot, and I was just like, I really wanted lunch. And I said to him, you know, forget this. We'll go and order all this stuff on Amazon. It will be here the next day. And he said, Mum, Jeff Bezos has just chartered a flight into space. He doesn't need our money. So it really just shows you how kind of this, you know, the societal impact, values, purpose is really kind of influencing this next generation. So Gen Z is pegged to be the most hyper-connected generation. 66% of Gen Z uses more than one internet-connected device at any one time. And in the UK, they spend on average of over 10 hours online each day. But the reality is that they care more about connections and community, and they're really active with that too. 60% want to make a positive impact on the world through their jobs, and 26% of 16 to 19-year-olds are currently volunteering. Gen Zers are active, and they want the businesses and brands that they interact with to be active too. In fact, Gen Z are more likely than any other generation to demand an activist government. The pandemic has also affected what Gen Z value, which has more recently resulted in more thoughtful purchase decisions and consumption behaviours. Research undertaken last year showed that Gen Z felt that brands should play a more active role in making the world a better place. 80% care about a brand's purpose. 61% are willing to pay for more products that are more ethically and sustainably produced. And 14% would attribute more value to honest brands. This digitally savvy group are also not seeing brands come to life through traditional channels like TV, where brand equity used to be built, but across an ecosystem of digital and social channels and commerce touchpoints, where they are being inspired, consuming content, engaging and interacting with brands and influencers, leading to purchase within clicks. And because of these new channels, the points between inspiration and purchase have now converged, making it even more difficult for brands to communicate their purpose and values in order to connect with this powerful and influential consumer group. And so because of this, commerce has hit its next level of evolution. With this explosion of commerce channels, there's never been more places and spaces for Gen Z to buy. They are now at the center of commerce. What, where, how, and when they buy is now reflecting who they are, and therefore brand equity is increasingly being built at that point of purchase. I want to explore how brands are responding to this phenomenon. Target recently pledged to invest $2 billion to bring 500 Black-owned brands to Target shelves by 2025. We've helped Target provide all its BIPOC Accelerator participants with specific D2C category level modules where we're showcasing tactical examples to inspire and build awareness around the importance of social commerce, sustaining purpose-driven growth, and how to scale with a major retailer like Target. Target recognizes that the future of e-commerce must have a more inclusive shelf if they want to win with the Gen Z shopper. We heard earlier from Nadine, the luxury department store Selfridges has long been supporting a sustainability agenda alongside its partners. Not so long ago, they partnered with Depop, the fashion marketplace app, to enable purchase of second-hand clothes via a pop-up in-store. More recently, they've partnered with Her, a luxury goods peer-to-peer rental company that connects renters and lenders. On the one hand, people can monetize their wardrobes, and on the other, you can rent from other people's wardrobes for a fraction of the retail price. ASOS recently published their half-year annual results, reporting 25% year-on-year growth, understandably driven by a massive spike in activewear. And when speaking to the team at ASOS, they shared that 80% of their shoppers care about their brand purpose, which is a challenge because actually the fashion industry is one that is most vocal around sustainability, but at the same time, one of the worst perpetrators. They continue to share with me that sustainable brands can't just focus on CO2 emissions, chemicals, materials, and circular recycling. If you look at the UN sustainability goals, there are 17. It includes all those things, as well as gender equality, eliminating poverty, and reducing inequality. The commitment for brands is much wider than what brands might first think. Made in Kenya is ASOS's Responsible Edit flagship brand. The collection is designed in-house and then cut and manufactured by Soko, their Kenyan shopping workshop and eco-factory, which provides fair and safe employment and training for some of the poorest communities. Last year, ASOS launched their Responsible Edit on ASOS.com to surface these more sustainable products to customers. They added a new responsible filter to the website to help customers discover and shop products that have a positive impact on people, animals, and the planet. We work aside Lucy Litwack, the owner and CEO of Coco de Mer. Coco de Mer is a luxury lingerie and sex toy brand, and their purpose is all around championing female pleasure and, in turn, ending female genital mutilation. It's absolute counter to female pleasure. But actually, if Coco de Mer mentioned female pleasure in any of their social posts, they get vetoed by all the major social platforms. Their purpose is literally being silenced. So we're working with them on a social commerce strategy to help give a voice to their purpose via an influencer commerce approach, engaging people that have shared their values and connecting, where relevant, to commerce via their direct-to-consumer site. And before the pandemic, Bird and Blend Tea had really strong omni-channel presence, but as a result of the pandemic, they saw a huge influx of customers, of digital customers, as tea became that affordable luxury which tapped into that self-care momentum. At the heart of their values is championing independent small businesses in the high street. Ethics and sustainability are passion points of the co-founder, which has driven innovation in supply chain and packaging. Their consumers share the brand's values and purpose, understanding also that if independent retailers aren't proactively supported, they will disappear from our high street. The brand even co-curates special tea blends for charities. They're actually called charities, which I thought was brilliant, to sell on at a time when charities were at their most vulnerable. They've really mastered the art of converging their brand and products with their purpose. I touched on it earlier, but social and social commerce is also influencing Gen Z and the future of e-commerce. 97% of Gen Zers say that they now use social media as their top source of shopping inspiration. In fact, and I think Shai mentioned this earlier, the hashtag TikTok made me buy it has upwards of 2.3 billion views on TikTok, and hashtag Amazon Finds has more than 6.7 billion views. Gen Z will want to connect with brands in a more personal way. We've helped Perfect Diary, for instance, the beauty brand, rank in the top 3 for the most popular brands amongst Chinese Gen Z consumers, in turn achieving $50 million of US in sales. And we did that by creating that one-to-one personalized communication and conversations between the shopper and a Perfect Diary influencer, providing valuable advice and after-sales support. We also connected those conversations to sales via a dedicated WeChat group. And we're also starting to see social AI influence the supply chain of brands wanting to reduce waste. Choosy, a North American and Chinese fast fashion brand, uses artificial intelligence to identify styles on social platforms made popular by the world's most followed influencers. They use that data to directly inform its product pipeline and supply chain in real time, so therefore reducing waste. And lastly, is this the final destination of sustainable commerce in the metaverse? In June of this year, Boson Protocol acquired real estate in Decentraland for $700,000 US, and their plans are to build a virtual shopping mall. Gucci recently sold a digital Dionysus bag on Roblox during its virtual Gucci garden experience for more than $4,000, more than what the physical bag is worth. Buying virtual products will definitely curtail the issue of clothes falling on my head when I open the cupboard in the morning. And I am a self-confessed shopaholic, but I don't know yet if I'd buy a digital Gucci bag. So what should all of this mean for brands and retailers, and how should they respond? It's really important to reflect what Gen Z value, but don't forget that they have also seen, especially because of the pandemic, how wallets and belts have had to tighten. So they're keenly aware of the value of a pound. Socially connect Gen Z to your brands, connect them to similar communities and purchase. Explore how they value your brand and how that influences their decision to purchase from you. And be authentic in your sustainability credentials. Claire spoke about it earlier, from supply chain to shelf. 90% of Gen Z said that they've made changes to be more sustainable in their lives. And Gen Z are the most digitally connected generation, so make sure your commerce experiences are frictionless and seamlessly connected. We've commissioned global research into Gen Z and the future of commerce across 5 cities that not only have the fastest economic growth, but also population growth of Gen Zers. And if you'd like a copy of that report titled The Paradox of Commerce, Culture and Conscience, then please let me know directly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Debbie. That's a huge amount of ground, and it also makes you feel really old really, really quickly, doesn't it? But one of the things that makes me wonder, though, is when we're talking about the way that Gen Z relates to brands and relates to purchases, how does that going to translate as they get older? Are they going to stick to the same things? Because a lot of it, this is probably me getting old now, is some of it's quite idealistic. So their expectations you become a bit more pessimistic as you get older, I know, and they want to bring change, but we all know that the world changes at a very slow pace. Yeah, we're immersed in this technology. We know what it's changing, how quickly it's changing, but this is only one part of what they're interacting with. So how's that going to evolve over time, do you think?
I think what's really interesting is kind of the balance between what Gen Z value, right? So they're still pretty young and they don't have a lot of money to spend. So actually, in reality, what we're seeing from some of this data that's coming out as part of our global research is that what Gen Z want to do and what they actually do are about two different things. But I genuinely feel it's because they don't have the funds yet to really underpin kind of what they value in the broader sense, right? So they feel like they're aligning with brands and their purpose and their values, but actually, when it actually comes to spending, they're still spending in fast fashion, for instance. So I actually think when they become more mature, when they have more money to spend, actually I do think it's going to shape the commerce world quite considerably, Andrew. So I think what will happen is they will buy from brands and retailers that are showing sustainability credentials, ethics, etc., and they will have the money to kind of make those decisions.
And a lot of these things are nice to have until you have mobile phone bills to pay, utilities, etc., etc. So is there a danger that we could focus too much on some of this, and actually, as that generation gets older, we then need to talk to them in a different way, and that evolves over time as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, my own gut is that these are going to become non-negotiables, right? So maybe in previous generations, and I'm going to say that for myself as well, you're absolutely right. Your mobile phone bill, your heating bill is going to take precedence. But actually, if you even have a look at those categories and those sectors, people are already buying and using services for more sustainable providers, right? So if you have a look at kind of, some of the gas and electricity providers, Bulb, for instance, who are more ethically who focus on ethics and sustainability, you can see that shift already happening, even in previous generations. So I actually don't think that there is going to be a choice, and I don't think brands and retailers are actually going to have a choice in moving into the space. It's just, to the conversation I had earlier, it's how can you do that in a really authentic way that is right for your business. But I genuinely think Gen Z, this will be a non-negotiable for them.
And I guess it also depends on what you mean by authentic. Is it just that we're very good at getting the tone of voice right in the communication, or can we back it up by what we're actually doing?
And that's the key, right, Andrew? Authenticity. Authenticity means that, again, to Claire's great point earlier, it isn't just about, words on a product description page, actually. It's, if I look under the bonnet, I want to see changes in the supply chain. I'm going to want to see that you're treating your workers correctly. I want to see that there's equity in pay. Those are all the things that we need to be looking at, and that will be exposed, and we have to be transparent about that.